quick shout out to today's sponsor, Katana. We'll hear more from Katana later in today's episode.
Nothing said on 0x Research is a recommendation to buy or sell securities or tokens. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and any views expressed by anyone on the show are solely our opinions, not financial advice. Boccaccio, Ryan, and our guests may hold positions in the companies, funds, or projects discussed.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode, another live stream of the 0x Research podcast. How you doing today, Bach? Just you and me. It's a little fun, friendly, cozy episode. Just the two of us today.
I'm doing okay. How are you?
He's doing good. I'm good. I touched grass last week. I was out of the Blockworks home office, away from the home office, so am back, ready to dive in. Things were busy though. I feel like a lot of stuff actually happened last week. A lot of launches, a lot of narratives popped off.
You missed quite a bit. That's usually what happens, right? Like you take some time off, and then you feel like you missed everything. Versus, I think if you were like in last week, you would feel like you didn't miss anything. You're like, okay, Aster went up, Plasma went up, okay.
Yeah.
Versus now, I bet I don't know if you have FOMO, but you might, and I think you wouldn't have had FOMO if you had just stayed. Like, you should realistically. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you should.
He's saying you should stay online always. Yeah. Actually, he's saying don't touch grass. Actually, it's bad for you.
Did you end up checking your phone a lot?
No, just kind of scrolling through things. I didn't have service for most of the time. We were out in the national park lands without cell access during the days, so I was pretty tapped out for most of the week.
That's nice.
But it was good. I feel like the other thing I could say is like you can probably pick just about any week to take a vacation in crypto, and you'll probably miss a bunch of stuff. Outside of maybe like, go back to 2022, there were probably plenty of weeks you could have taken off, but there tends to be things always happening.
Yeah, and I didn't take any time off then, and I feel like I should have missed.
Yeah, it's kind of the reverse. Like maybe you should have just ignored things then.
Yeah,
that's okay though. There's always new opportunities. I think that's kind of how these markets roll. Speaking of opportunities, a few things we got to get out of the way first. DAS London, in 2 weeks, Baki here will be there. I don't know why you're putting me on the screen for the DAS London pitch. You're the one that's going to be there live with the OXR booth. I don't really know how that's going to work, but I know we're going to have a setup there, be chatting with a few of the guests, speakers, prominent names that will be at the conference. So that should be cool. But otherwise, it should just be a good event, like our more institutionally focused event. You can still get tickets, get £100 off at checkout with code 0x100.
Yeah. I think we need to update that code because I think it ran out. But either way, you should check the show notes because there will be a code for you to get it for free. We got James Kristoff comped tickets today. Did you know that?
Did he do 15 referrals or we just like him?
Oh, we just like him because he comes on the pod a lot. So if you're relatively interesting and you come on the pod a lot, you'll get free tickets. I don't know what the market value for them is.
Friend of the show, it's pretty valuable.
Yeah, I hope Polks doesn't hear this because last time he asked, it didn't cap.
He's gonna be so upset. He's gonna be asking for a free ticket next time.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's okay. I don't know if he wants to go to London.
Yeah, busy. We have DAS London next month. No, 2 weeks. Apart from that, we're still doing full time. Do you need to do more shills? Because I'm gonna do the newsletter one.
The newsletter, go for it.
We're still writing the newsletter every day. Jakob Schande put out today what we should be looking forward to over the next week. Would recommend you guys check that out. But apart from that, it's good stuff. I love the newsletter. I make sure that it's interesting enough. I actually have to read it every day to check that it's good enough to go out, and typically it's good enough to go out. So I would highly recommend that you check it out.
Yeah, I feel today's newsletter from Shonda talked a little bit about Plasma. I think obviously Plasma was one of the big things from last week. from last week and into this week. I don't know. I think Plasma's definitely hot in the narrative right now. Also, like just stablecoin related things in general, been a pretty strong narrative this year. But I guess give people a little taste of what maybe they're missing. But he shared some high level stuff. Plasma TVL kind of just skyrocketing since launch, over 5 billion in TVL. Aave V3 TVL kind of skyrocketed up because of that usage of. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is like not a masterpiece, but this is the result of like very, very heavy incentivization. There is a lot of very, I don't want to say lazy, but comfortable capital out in the EVM. Most of it parked in Ethereum mainnet. So they've had to, I don't know what they're emitting. I think maybe like 600 mil a year. It's a lot of money that they're emitting out to move a lot of this capital into Plasma. And I mean, if you have capital laying around, barring smart contract risk, which I think with Aave should be okay. I don't know, knock on wood. This is like pretty attractive stuff in my opinion. But like I said, I mean, it's quite a bit of incentives, so I would always keep that in mind. You don't want to be the person burnt because you didn't know that you were getting in, like that this was a part of a liquidity mining program. Even though
Yeah.
like I'm generally interested in the XPL token, not everybody is. So I think it's a relevant thing to tell people about.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be aware. I mean, a lot of these high incentive amounts are being paid out in the native token, and usually there's some like cyclicality to that type of stuff. We haven't seen as much massive like liquidity mining type activities like this. I want to say since like 2021 or maybe coming out of that cycle. It's been more like airdrop, receive the airdrop, farm specifically for the airdrop. So this is kind of like a little bit of a double whammy. Launch the token, a little bit of airdrop, a little bit of incentive mining. They're kind of doing everything all at once, but it's pulling the capital over. And I guess maybe the other big chart Shonda shared is it's been positive. I mean, you can see the little uptick recently, at least for total supply of Tether. This has been beneficial for them as well. The growth on Plasma. So Tether's winning right now. Plasma's winning right now. It's definitely been positive so far. I don't know. Are you looking at anything in particular on Plasma Bach? Since you're over there, you're probably farming.
I'm just mostly doing whatever I find on that rewards.plasma.to page. I'll pull it up in a sec. 1 sec. There we go. There we go. It's the opportunities page. Just like whatever here is interesting. I think they'll change this. I don't know when they launched. I think they launched on Thursday. I think they'll probably change this maybe this week, midweek, maybe end of the week. But just keeping an eye out on this. And if anything is particularly interesting, I'll do it. Like 12% in fluid is pretty good. USDT0 net lending 7% is pretty good. They had a meme coin called Trillions that went up quite a bit. I might need to pull up the chart, but it did really, really well. That was like missed by me, to be honest with you, although it is down now, so I guess it could buy technically. We'll see. But nothing like, I mean, this is like another analyst, Sean, that asked about this. He's like, what is the plasma thesis? And I think it's a little bit difficult to articulate in a market that is very much now focused on pure revenue. And I talk about this pendulum swing all the time. Like we go from nothing matters, let's just do meme coin nihilism, to like, holy shit, revenues and buybacks are very important. If your team is not doing that, it's a scam. I think we've kind of forgotten that there's some of these are like very early stage growth companies, and like plasma revenue is never going to be super duper impressive, especially in the early days. I do think that there is no other coin apart from USDE that is a pure bet on stablecoins, and plasma has the additional benefit of also being tether beta. There will be other chains. I'm not sure if they'll be able to do as well as Plasma has done it so far. From what I understand, the Plasma team is quite capable. I'm not sure about the other chains. Just haven't had the opportunity to look into them. I will do, but yeah, does that make sense? Like, I feel like that's not the greatest thesis because it's like a lot of the time that I spend on blockwork research, I'm checking comps and I'm checking if like they're making enough money, and if they're making enough money, if it's like if it's relevant at this point, et cetera, et cetera. Like, are there any interesting catalysts coming up? Versus Plasma was very much like, okay, this thing is it's valued quite highly at this point. But to me, something that is tether beta, and the only tether beta on the market is probably remotely interesting.
Do you see it as like a long term? Is that like a long term view though, or more of like a
I don't know,
short
maybe like
medium view?
medium term.
Yeah.
I do think that they could have like interesting, like it really. I wrote a note last week on Plasma, day of launch, and what I talked about was like they're gonna get a lot of capital inflow. They have a lot of incentives. They're gonna get a lot of capital inflow. Um, and they have a few, like they're trying to cover both of the sides, right? Like a lot of the times these emerging markets, they end up using centralized exchanges as wallets. So they're like getting integrated into Binance for like their Plasma Earn thing. So they're trying to do it that way, but also on the other hand, they're launching Plasma One, I guess to like offboard people off of the centralized exchanges and onboard them onto their own native app, because then you can control the front end. Um, and that's not just for emerging markets as well. Like you and I could technically use that.
Yeah.
So I think they have some valiant efforts at distribution. But like early days, it's gonna be very incentive driven, and then you just have to see if they're still performing, right? Like if in 3 months the liquidity has dried up and incentives have dried up, and there's no attempt by the team at making it work, there's not much you can like. Then you're just like, I mean, this is the same thing with all of the products. Like we see a lot of products come out of the gates, doing really really well, and then 2 months in, nothing else is happening on the chain. So it'll depend. I think they'll do okay. It's going to be kind of a difficult chain to track. I wonder if it'll be like Tron, where I mean, you and I didn't really like you always kind of hear about Tron, but you never like quite understand Tron very well.
Yeah.
Like you never know how much, and that's like, I guess like our edge there is Blockworks data. So I'm hoping that the data team integrates Plasma and tracks payments and settlement and etc. on there, and then we can make a more educated bet on whether they're actually getting adoption, or if the incentives have dried out and they've lost everything.
Yeah. I think I agree with that take across the board. It's the biggest question is how do you convert the short term incentives, narrative, et cetera, into like a longer term momentum, or just carry some of that through. Definitely better executed launch than like Barachain, for example, where they locked up all the liquidity in advance, and then there was no excitement really post launch, and you saw things die down pretty quickly. But much more positive start to things here for Plasma, at least. I think like you said, the big question is going to be a couple months down the road. Like, are incentives, still running? Are they, are people getting tired of it? How do they transition that into a continuous, source of, new growth, what have you? Because it's kind of hard to beat, 5 billion in inflows in like a week.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to like keep up that type of momentum, that type of growth. So we'll see where they go with it.
Yeah, I don't think they can keep it up. I think they really want to look for like not losing it out.
Yeah.
The issue with being the first to do this is that, I mean, it was the same with Hyperliquid, right? Like they had this gigantic onboarding program with the airdrop, and then they did great things with the perp stacks, and now every other chain, like every other perp stacks, is implementing the exact same features. So like you're gonna see a bunch of these Plasma competitors come online, and they're gonna offer the same incentives if they can afford it, which I assume they can because they've probably raised quite a bit. Right, and then
Yeah, I'll be curious to see like what if these chains, any of them, Plasma or the other copycats or just other new chains in this area, like if we see more of push towards like launching your own like sort of like chain affiliated, chain integrated products for the revenue fee streams, etc. To like capture more from the user. Like they're kind of, in a way, it's funny to like launch a chain and maybe it's decentralized, maybe it isn't, whatever. I don't really care about the details there, but interesting to basically see like centralized venues essentially roll out on chain, kind of like in the reverse from like, launching a centralized exchange and then rolling out all the products with it. It's like launch on chain and then roll out all the products, but you still capture all the fee revenues back to, if it's the token or if it's to the chain. It's just interesting to see that play out.
Yeah. I mean, if you're like, it makes sense logically from CZ's end, right? Like if you have an existing massive distribution channel with this X, like Binance is so big. And he himself is like very large, like to the point that if he tweets something out, we talked about this on the pod, you weren't here, but like it's really funny because he knows where people are drawing support lines on the chart. Essentially like tweets it out when it's there. Like it's genuinely crazy. Or like he tweets it out like when it's at resistance to like send it through resistance, and then it's genuine. Like
Yeah.
he knows how to play the game very, very well, and he realizes that there's a lot of money that he's missing out on if he's not offering some form of a competitor. So, and
Yeah.
Vibe will do the same. OKX, I'm sure, will do the same. Coinbase maybe will do the same. We'll see. But I think they would be missing out if they didn't, because all of the revenue just flows back to them, right? Somehow, like
Yeah.
maybe the company, but I mean, with Aster, it's on BNB, so
It depends, right? But they probably have, they're probably invested in some of the DeFi platforms. Like the chain is obviously run by them. If people then go through Binance to get there, yeah, I think in some way or another, it's beneficial for them to see growth in any of those venues. So I agree with that. Yeah, it's definitely meaningful for CZ. Like I feel like we've seen this at certain times where you see that they really like latch onto this idea that he can have a really outsized impact on what's happening in that ecosystem. Like he tweeted about memes, at the beginning of the year when meme coins were going crazy, and it pumped all meme coin trading volumes on the chain for a couple of weeks. And now he's doing the same with the Perp DEX. I think he can kind of do that with any product and any narrative, and it'll probably be successful to that nature. So it's definitely like plus EV for them to do that from if it's chain activity, if it's revenues to the products, etc. It works out for them. Before we jump to anything else, though, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors for today's stream. I just got trolled. For today's stream, Katana. This episode sponsored by Katana. Katana is an L2 built for DeFi and is pioneering the ecosystem category of productive TVL, believing that change should be graded on how efficiently assets are put to work in DeFi rather than just total value locked. From now until the end of November, users that bridge to Katana can earn boosted yield from CAT incentive campaigns, added VaultBridge yield, and other chain revenues. Follow the link in today's show notes to get started. And you'll hear from our other sponsors later in the ep. Another topic I wanted to get into, we can maybe talk about BNB, but I think since you covered it recently, like, I don't know, I think we kind of hit the high levels there, but I feel like prediction markets have continued to like compound, and it's like it's not been a CT native narrative at all. Although you're starting to see something I'm noticing, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, is like there's been like, some of the prediction markets have been onboarding like CT and probably like other finance content creators, like influencers, doing deals with them. I saw like one of the popular like Solana meme coin traders got signed with Kalshi just recently. They're definitely like trying to wedge into this market a little bit. But I was surprised to see, just pulling up Polymarket recently, that like the culture markets, which were basically dead probably, a year ago when everything was all about the election, culture markets are kind of like they're growing pretty continuously. And you're seeing silly stuff like Elon Musk's number of tweets in the past week do a couple million in volume. 1 million volume today. This Lord Miles 40-day water fast was a pretty big one.
They tried to mess with that. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I know our humble farmer Taiki had a whole series on maybe he got scammed. I don't know the exact specific details there, but maybe he was scamming the yes, maybe they were kind of scamming the no. But it is interesting to see that these have continued to grow. Something else I wanted to just pull up real quick just to get on this point is we look at, so you can see like all markets. There's been a bit of cyclicality. I think just for some of this stuff, like business, like week to week cycles, and probably like sports, business, and politics as well, probably chug through some of those things. But if we look at pop culture, this has been growing like up and to the right over the past couple of months, which is interesting to see because I think, like I mentioned, maybe a year ago or a month ago, it's like you'd look at some of these markets and it's like, how much is, this new movie going to gross in revenue? And it maybe has like 10K OI. It's like not really tradable. You've been seeing some growth here, at least on like, silly popular. How many tweets is Elon going to make? How many views is a Mr. Beast video going to get? And it's very like outside it feels like a very non-CT product is maybe what I want to say. Like normal people would maybe bet on that.
Yeah, I'm actually, that's what I wanted to ask. Do you know normal people betting on this?
Some of my friends, I don't know that they're betting. I don't know if they're fully betting on some of these things, but I do see them sharing them sometimes. Like topics that we talk about, they'll pull up a prediction market and look at the odds. And have a little conversation like, oh, that's like a free 2x on this market because XYZ. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they would never do this, or like that person would definitely do this thing. Like, oh, that's a free 2x or that's a free whatever. But I don't know that those guys are pulling the trigger. I'm not using it. I don't know. Are you using it?
I'm not. I make my financial bets in tokens and
Yeah.
I don't know. I also come from a kind of a different culture, right? Like we don't really have a lot of, like, we have sports betting, but we don't do a lot of this kind of betting, and maybe it's just something that I'm not very used to. I don't know. This stuff is interesting to me, but it's also like doesn't feel like I like crypto because I can make up an investment thesis versus like, I mean, I guess you can really do that here as well. I just don't have the bug. I feel like you need to have the bug, or you need to like to gamble, or you need to be like, oh, like I'm gonna look up like Bad Bunny trend lines everywhere, see like what his distribution is like, and see if I should buy it. I'm not in either of those camps, so I'm not like interested in it.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty solid consumer angle here. Like they have sports rolled out, which is pretty similar to like the sports betting apps. What I will say is like the culture stuff feels like it aligns pretty meaningfully with that. I mean, you've got other like the election and the politics stuff still does really well. And I guess if you're trading the markets and like, you're trading big events and rate cuts or rate hikes, things of that nature, like there's ways that you can take direct bets on that now, which can be interesting. But I feel like the cultural stuff probably taps into more of that like sports betting itch, where it's like if you really love music artists, you can bet on the Spotify artist of the year, whatever, because you think you have some edge, or maybe just like the team mentality aspect of like getting into sports betting. Maybe that applies there as well. Like you love Elon and you freaking quantify all of his posts and you want to bet on them. I can see that kind of playing out in some different ways, but yeah, I don't know. It definitely there's a disconnect. I think if you're maybe just like a raw token trader, there's something a little bit different about this. It does feel a bit more like sports betty to me.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good thing for a different reason. I think it can be, I think these can continue to grow and be pretty profitable businesses.
I mean, like, who the hell is betting on the Seychelles presidential election? It's so random. I don't know. I do think that this is a better approach to saying everything will be financialized.
Yeah.
compared to meme coins. I think you want to control some exogenous factors such as bundling and sniping and whatnot, and this to me feels a bit more like fair compared to meme coins, which, I mean, a lot of people used to make this argument that meme coins are fair, right? And like you and I both know that meme coins aren't fair. Like they're not, and
Yeah.
they never have been. So I feel like this could be more of like a better approach for that like hyper financialization, which is still something that I really hope doesn't happen. But it will probably.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think I feel like end of last year when like we were very much in a meme coin craze. I mean, even the beginning of this year, it's like I think the market was using them as prediction markets in some cases. And obviously with like the bundling and the sniping, it kind of diminishes a lot of that. You can be right and you can bid like, some, Bowden token or whatever. And it might go up or down for whatever other unrelated reason. So I think it is great to have markets where, you can have a view, have conviction, place a bet, and like if you're right about the result, then you can be paid for that. That's great. There is a lot of like I do see there's a lot of angst maybe around polymarket like UMA. Everyone always says the polymarket UMA whales rigging the votes, whatever else. I'm sure these issues will be solved with time. Not to say like AI solves everything, but some better checking of details and other things like that can reduce most of these issues to nothing, unless the terms of the actual market are vague and like unspecified to a point where you're going to have an upset party on one side or the other no matter what. But that more just comes down to setting up good market conditions.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of sports betting?
No, I don't.
Do you know people who do a lot of sports betting?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of friends actually, but I don't know if here's the thing. I don't know if they do it for fun, but all the sports betting platforms, they usually offer big coupons, vouchers, like when you sign up with them. So I think the big thing that a bunch of my friends have done is sign up for like 10 of them, get all of their, here's $1,000 free credit if you make a trade. And then basically hedge across all the platforms so that you're like guaranteed to make a little bit of money in the end. I don't know if any of my friends are actively like chucking their paycheck into sports bets, but I do see that pretty commonly. Like, I don't know, you see Ansem and you see like some of the bigger like CT influencers like chuck out, slips of their bets on a football game or whatever. It's a bit more mainstream, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like my friends, maybe a year ago, when we were all doing meme coins, were a lot more interested in sports betting. I don't know if it's the age where it's like, now we're at this age and they're like, what, maybe I shouldn't be spending 30% of my paycheck on what the fucking Indonesian football league. Or if it's like, or if it's just died down a bit. It's so crazy though. Every year there's like last year was very clearly everybody was gambling. Like genuinely everybody was gambling, and now this year like Labubus, for example, and like Pokemon trading cards, they just blew up. Everybody wanted to buy, sell, trade these things. So like every year there's kind of a thing, which is, I guess that's like the GCR thesis, right? Like gambling will never go away.
Yeah.
We're going with this one.
Companies they're finding new ways, like monetizing the experience or the thing. I feel like we've continued to find new ways to do that, and it's pretty. You get all the people who like jump on the train late, and want to hit the 100x or whatever. I do feel like the sports gambling in general, though, and maybe even prediction markets, like we'll get to this point in the future, but it feels like there's something there that's I don't know, kind of continuously maybe taps into like something of that consumer mind of like, I watch the sports and get convinced. Maybe it's from a combination of the ads and the promos, but like, okay, I get the 500 free promo, and maybe they'll maybe they'll top me up again if I make a couple losing trades, and then maybe you have 1 or 2 good hits, and then maybe these people like get convinced that they have some kind of edge, and keep betting on it. I don't know. I think that's the same thing in crypto, right? It's like you hit a good one, and then you're like, maybe I have some kind of edge, and then you stick around and you like keep going for it. I think like each kind of like little market has that sort of pipeline where you get someone like in deep enough, and then they become like kind of a lifetime consumer of it.
Yeah. Gambling really ruins lives, though. So, like genuinely though, because it like actually ruin. Well, I guess everything can ruin a life.
Yeah, I mean, for people that are addicted and like gamble away all their money, yeah, for sure.
All right, it's getting a little sad. Should we do Hypurrr NFTs? I feel like we
Yeah,
could
you
always-
want to talk about it?
Yeah, I just
The details.
yeah, there were 2 options. You could press yes, I would like my tokens and Hypurrr NFT, or you could say no, I would just like tokens. And a lot of people pressed the one where, well, not a lot. I don't know. Where did you see that 30% stat?
I have to go and look it up, but I saw that there was like a listing of total addresses that had done the claim, and then the total amount of NFTs that were then created. And it was something like 20-30% basically did not take the NFT like voluntarily. But I guess the assumption then would have been like, maybe you'll get fewer tokens. Like maybe that, I'm assuming that's probably what people were thinking, is like, I don't want the NFT, I just want more tokens. But they basically missed out, seems to be
Yeah,
the result.
the 70 grand.
Sorry, buds.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was thinking about it. Do you think that's like if Uniswap was doing another airdrop and they were like, you can take a NFT or you can do a token, which one would you like? If they posed you the same question and they said, look, you can do tokens and an NFT, or you can do just tokens, which one would you take?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, it probably depends on the framing of the question. I don't know if I have the exact thing, but if it was quite literally like it read as if it was, you get only tokens or you get tokens and NFTs, and you're assuming it's some kind of split, I'd probably take the tokens. It makes sense in my mind why people would think that way, but the wording is important.
Let me find this. There we go. This is just some random guy, by the way. So anybody watching this, don't follow him or anything. Like, do anything with him. I don't know who he is. Just always kind of wary of putting people on the screen. Okay. I would like to only receive hype tokens. I would like to receive 1 Hypurrr NFT and hype tokens. You may choose. NFT collection is expected to launch in after blah blah blah. I mean, it doesn't sound
too bad. I feel like in this case, so here's the wording that I like here in why I would probably take the NFT. I mean, I didn't receive the hype airdrop, so this is coming from someone outside. Hypurrr NFTs have no planned utility. The NFT collection is expected to launch after mainnet. I don't know. It gives me some kind of thought that it's kind of just like unrelated to the token.
Yeah, that's all. But well, I mean, we're also obviously being like,
but it's also after the fact. So
yeah, so we're like, oh yeah, clearly, like not clearly, but it just.
If you're in the moment and you're thinking maybe you get fewer tokens by taking the NFT, it could be a logical choice. I mean, there was no that was the only info, right? You had no other info, so it's hard to act perfectly, correct, because they didn't provide any clarity on it. So totally understandable.
Yeah.
But these are the floor of these is like what, 1,500, 1,700 hype right now.
Yeah, it's significant money. And like another thing here is, I feel like, I don't know, like the way that the Hyperliquid team have acted previously and clearly have like shown themselves to be. I feel like they're not part of that cohort of protocols or chains that are trying to do something that are like trying to very clear like obfuscate stuff. I feel like they just say what they mean, and now I feel like we know this more and more and more. Like they just say we're not doing something and they won't do it, or they'll be like we're doing this and this is like exactly what you're gonna get. It's probably a good lesson for people. That's why I asked the Uniswap question, right? Like, I mean, the Uniswap team have built out fantastic stuff like V2, V3, V4. But like if they had written it, I would have probably just taken the tokens because I would have been like, well, they'll probably give me more tokens. That seems like the type of thing that they would do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you didn't do it, you missed out on 70K. But I mean, to be honest,
If you got the airdrop, it's like, you know, you're probably only missing out on a little bit if you already got the airdrop. But
1,000, I think it's, I don't know how much you got. Maybe you got 10 per, and you needed 1,000 points, 10,000 hype. I mean, you're good. You just like, you can be a little upset. You could have made like an extra 15%.
yeah, you were already chilling if you got the allocation. Like you were doing it great.
It kind of sucks because I can imagine waking up and being like, well, I guess I
yeah, it's like, oh fuck, I just missed like nearly 6 figs. That's tough. On the Uniswap point though, it's funny because they did, I don't remember actually if they gave Unisocks away for free or if you had to buy those, but they did have that NFT way back in the day. And if you held those, they went to like 30K or something. I guess it's a similar thing. It's kind of different in that case because it's like it was an NFT as like a voucher to receive actual socks. So kind of different from like an expected NFT drop sometime in the future. You just had to hope that they would appreciate in value, which they did.
Why didn't you farming any of the new perp DEXs?
I used Lighter for a while. I think the thing that I struggle with is I don't use perps at all. So farming it is like not, it's not something I'm going to go out of my way to do, but yeah, I'll log into these things, drop, a little bit in there and maybe open a position or two and check it every once in a while. But I don't know. I know that there are people getting in there and like, running like botted strategies to like wash as much volume as possible through these things at this point. So it's not super top of mind for me. I don't know. Are you doing that? Are you doing that with like what? Aster, Lighter? What else?
No,
There's
plenty of these. I have money on Lighter. I mean, there's just so many now. There's Aster, Lighter, Pacifica.
It feels to me, and you can tell me if I'm being too pessimistic, but it feels to me we're at the point like when
Launchpads.
Maybe, but the example I was actually going to give was going to be, it feels to me we're at the point where TIA is $20 and they're saying you should stake it for airdrops, but like that's the top, and all the airdrops that come have either already been qualified for, and the ones that you're going to get from now either won't come, or when they do come, they'll be like $50.
I mean, like the Aster one is going to be horrible. Like I can't imagine that's good. Everyone's and their mothers.
And if you were in Aster early, like there was already a token, so it's like you're gonna be up, you're up.
Yeah, just Lighter private. They're in private. I don't know if they're still in private beta. That's like a weird one because they've been live, but like in private beta for a year and a half, maybe. I mean, it's like not a bad product. It's just. It just kind of feels like they're like giving points to certain people and not to certain people. Like you'll do volume and it'll be like 3 points, and then like why am I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping there's so Hyperliquid they raised points and then they launched like on the API or on the back end they launched like season free now. I'm hoping there's an airdrop for that. I don't know if I'll qualify. I don't do that much volume, I've realized, because I just hold. I also don't do a lot of perks.
Yeah.
But Hyperliquid was great because you can buy spot on it. And I enjoy that. So if they give like a lot of points for spot, then I'm probably good to go. But like I checked my volumes and I mean they're nothing to write home about. Like with volume, you want to do leverage and you want to open close positions. I don't want to do that. Like I'm already.
Yeah.
I just want to buy it. I mean, I just hold hype on it as well. Like I don't want to sell it. I just sell, rebuy. It seems stupid.
That's where I'm at. I've always been I don't know. I feel like I dabbled in perps a few years ago, and just like, it was like too degenerate, like unnecessarily losing money on it. So I've become like a spot trader since then, and I feel like meme coins and other things have been a way to like basically have leverage on spot without having to actually use leverage. Tokens can go up 10, 50. Like you don't need to get leverage when your coins can go up and down, minus 90% up 20x in a week. So I've kind of stuck to that for the most part. But so yeah, perp, like farming the perp platforms has never been my alley, but I'm open to checking them out here and there. I do see Doomed Capital in the Telegram chat saying prediction markets are incredibly bad for sports betting. Sorry, this cuts out of the perp decks conversation, but saying they're 100x worse than any gambling platform in my country. Not talking about arbing, hedging, etc., but for regular people who are casually betting. Premier League matches, they'll never use Polymarket, and I can see that being true. I'm not really going to say that they're better for like sports betting, but you can't go on DraftKings and bet on if Mr. Beast is going to have 1 million views on his video. And we're seeing volume take off, like kind of slowly build on those pop culture markets, which is mostly what I wanted to highlight there, which seems interesting. It's like a sports betting-esque style of consumer trading that was not available previously. This is something that people have been talking about a lot too, is like, betting on the next popular influencer, that type of thing. I feel like it's been tried to be expressed with like, we're doing streamer coins now on Pump, and like, I don't know, I've seen plenty of platforms. I forget, there's like an early platform on like Kizzy that was doing, you could trade like views on videos and things of popular streamers. A lot of stuff like that, but this is I would say like the first real platform where you can trade like actual real sizable amounts of money on those types of things, which is interesting. But yeah, the sports betting may not be that good. I have seen, to his point, I've seen a lot of people say like you can hedge and like our bets across like from the sports betting platforms to like a Polymarket call sheet because the pricing is just so much different between like the books and where people are betting on the prediction markets. So that's interesting. But yeah, for like taking a regular bet, maybe it doesn't make sense right now.
Yeah. Also, like the other guys have had 15 years to perfect their platform, right? To make it so that it's easy to use and it like appeals to the sports better. Polymarket and stuff just got started. I'm not saying that they'll significantly improve, but I imagine they'll get a bit better over time. Yeah, I don't think people want to switch away from them. But like you said, you can't bet on a lot of this culture stuff. And a lot of like the political stuff, which I think Polymarket has done a really, really good job at capturing. Like the flow for that. I don't know about how Kalshi is doing. To be honest with you, I don't really check a lot of predictions. We had like a week where they launched a bunch of prediction market tokens like for platforms. They never did particularly well. Like if there's one that I can get exposure to without having to buy in private markets, maybe I'll look into it. But for the time being, I feel probably not. Polymarket will do well. I don't farm it though. I feel like that's probably a big farm that a lot of people are not participating in.
Yeah, I think it's getting talked about more now that I'm seeing people who are either partnered, sponsored, or I'm just seeing like more general mind share around it. I will say on the call sheet side, I don't know about like their native platform metrics, but I know through like the Robinhood partnership, they've been getting quite a ton of volume from them. Vlad, I'm just going to show this. Vlad tweeted, I hate that they don't put an actual y-axis on this, but he's saying they did 2 billion in contract volume in Q3. So they're doing some sizable volume like through the Robinhood integration, which uses call sheet on the back end. So it seems like the partnership strategy is actually, it's playing out for them quite well. So I could see them continuing to do well in that arena, and maybe well, I guess we've seen Polymarket try. I don't know, there was some conversation around them integrating with like X as like the official prediction markets platform for the app. I don't know if that's happened or if that's like maybe something that's in the works or still being talked about, but it seems like that's maybe another big lever is getting integrated into some big apps and pushing that to people. Could be big to grow going forward. Maybe before we one last topic, do a final shout out to our sponsors for today's stream. I want to do a quick shout out to Katana. Katana is an L2 built for DeFi and is pioneering the ecosystem category of productive TVL. In just 2 months, Katana has surpassed 500 million TVL, with over 90% of that TVL being productive in ecosystem apps like Sushi and Morpho. From now until the end of November, users that bridge to Katana can earn boosted yield from CAT incentive campaigns, added VaultBridge yield, and other chain revenue. Follow the link in today's show notes to get started. As well as Allora. AI is fragmented. Every team is scrambling to pick, swap, and manage LLM models that can't keep up. Allora changes that. Instead of choosing models, you set your goal, and Allora unites AIs into one smarter system. The result, a new AI standard. Predictive intelligence that adapts in real time, outperforms any single model, and gets better as more people contribute. From powering DeFi strategies to next-gen AI agents, Allora is the intelligence layer of the future. Learn more at X at Allora Network. Thanks so much to our sponsors for the stream. Let's get back to it. I guess the one thing that you mentioned that we could talk about is Launchpads. There's been like a bit of a narrative rotation, right? Launchpads are kind of like maybe in the dumps again, or like out of the mind's eye now that everyone is like refarming new perp DEXs. Everyone's on Plasma. I saw some data on this, but we have our own Launchpads dashboard. Let me just pull that up. I think we're like hitting lows again for, I guess this is Solana only, but that's where majority of it happens. But hitting some like relative recent lows. So September 28th, I guess this is revenue. I should pull volumes as well, but total category revenues on Solana just around $1 million, down from, we were in the 2 to 3 sort of million range over the past couple of months. I don't know. It feels, I don't know if it's not the hot narrative anymore. We had the little creator capital markets kind of bumps with like Zora was in mindshare for a few weeks or maybe a month. They had some new rollouts. Like Pump was very much like front and center with, sending 100% to the token, doing the creator capital markets, pushing like that sort of kind of advertising. It feels like it's kind of fallen out of trend right now, and not being talked about as much. And we're seeing that reflected as well in the trading volumes.
Yeah, this is like kind of a scary thing if you're Pump, because that just means that I don't know how much they bought. I need to pull up fees.pumpfund.com, but like, I don't know, you want to like really keep track of this potential downtrend. I mean, there's some, I hate saying this because every time I say this, ends up being the bottom, but
It's the bottom.
There's something to be said here about like crypto's fundamentally an attention game, and we all know this. And if attention is moving away from meme coins and towards prediction markets and perp DEXs, that doesn't mean that memes are completely gone. But it also doesn't mean that like you want to constantly stay long memes and launchpads. Like, I mean, yes, at some point Pump is, I mean, I'm in Pump at this point. I think it's attractive. I'll reconsider if I notice that launchpads are doing significantly worse than they were before, and like a lot of that volume isn't coming back. But we've had moments, right? Like February, March was down. Same as like late June to July, it was down. Same as late August, it was down. Like we have these moments of cyclicality within meme coins, so you want to keep track of it. Meme coins probably don't go away, but also don't want to be the last Japanese soldier on the island as well. like where a team is shipping in $1 million a day into a dying product that might get attention back in 8 months. Like there's also a chance that memes just don't do very well for 6 months as stocks come on chain, prediction markets end up doing better, big stablecoin narrative, big perp stacks narrative. It's not unheard of that something dies out for 6 months. And this is the same thing with perp stacks. Like maybe this was the attention top when everybody was launching perp stacks, and then they go down for 6 months and then they come back. I mean, the perp stacks thing is a bit more difficult because it allows you to trade every token, right? Like meme coins, Launchpads, and like Pump Swap is exclusively for meme coins. So, well, not exclusive, mostly meme coins. So
Yeah. I guess there's a question if Pump expands into more of a platform, like they have the meme coins, they have Pump Swap.
we can pull that up as well if you want to. I know we're making you pull up a lot of data here,
What am I
but
pulling?
it should be on the Pump Fund dashboard that we have.
Here, let me hide this while I find it. What chart did you want, sir?
Pump Fund.
Pump Fund.
Sorry, I'm also getting yelled at by Ryan Connor while I'm on the pod.
This guy.
This
Oh,
guy.
the thing I was going to...
It's Creative Coins, Creator CCM metrics. It will be under analytics.
Token stats?
Yeah, token stats. No, I think it should be on token creators.
Okay.
Token creator rewards, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Creator rewards are down quite a bit. Yeah, that one. Right, like, and this was the big bull thing for creator tokens. Like, creator rewards were supposed to do really, really well, but I mean, this is a function of swaps. Like all of this,
it's trading volume. It's the same as the ICM, like Believe and all the other platforms that did dynamic fees, and then they fed that back into the tokens. Yeah,
like it's a self-feeding system. So if one part of it breaks down, you end up seeing repercussions across 3 to 4 of the markets, 3 to 4 of the stats. I don't know. I don't want to bet against Pump. I feel like they're probably the best to capture that entire sector. People know how to use Solana for meme coins now. Like they're accustomed to the platform and to like all of the other platforms on that, like the secondary and tertiary products as well, like Axie and whatever other Telegram bot you might be using.
yeah.
But also you have to be like, maybe.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is if they actually, I know that the creator capital markets, like there was a bit of maybe a blow off to that trend a week or two ago. People were very excited about it. You can see the volumes are down now. You can see the creator rewards are down. But if it led to like, higher lows in terms of like views and users on the platform, it could be interesting, at least in them like expanding their product suite. So I don't know if they get people on the Pump app, if they get people on live streams, like if they can add more products. And like, I don't know, we're just seeing this more and more where you have a good brand, you build one good product, and then the next step is just build more products that connect with that. So it wouldn't be crazy to see Pump like roll out a Perps product. It wouldn't be crazy to see them roll out a stablecoin product, a credit card, whatever. All of the other like rollouts that all of the other teams in the space are doing. Once you have that like user base that's pretty, relatively sticky, even when they, if they lose a large amount of activity, there still is like some sticky amount of users and an amount of revenue that's driven from that. So if you can then, monetize them a little bit more or expand the product a little bit more and get, additional users from that, they have a ton of cash. So I agree with you. It's just a hard team to bet against because they can build a lot more and ship a lot more with the funds and now the size of the team that they have. Unless they're, the way that you'd be betting against them is if they're cashing out and they're done, they're not going to build any more products. But that doesn't really seem to be like the modus.
Because they're shipping in a lot of money for a team that would be
Yeah, exactly. So they seemed aligned with it. It's just, I do think with everything else, we see these narrative cycles, and I think these creator rewards, there's this reflexivity game baked in that you mentioned, where when it's hot and when volume is pumping, like it's obviously very good. It makes all the metrics look really good. And then when it kind of like when the narrative dies a little bit, then it makes all the metrics look that much worse because it's reflexive to the downside as well. So it's good on the way up and it's bad on the way down. Maybe this bottoms again and there's another opportunity, or maybe there's just maybe they do a fresh new narrative totally unrelated to streamer coins at some point. We'll have to see. I don't have any strong thoughts here. Like I'm not long or short pump. So
no, not interested. When would you be interested? Assume that creator rewards do okay. Like assume that everything is middling. It doesn't die out, but it also doesn't go back to the all-time highs of whatever it meant to be.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if it stays around this valuation, then I don't know. It almost feels about right. Like I don't know. Maybe Ryan Connor, you'll get him in here and he'll say, look how much cash they have and look at their revenues, like and their expected growth. Like it's obviously cheap, but that doesn't really matter in the space. If you bid it before the sold ats and then you sold it at peak sold at hype, like then that was a good trade.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the type of thing. I mean, I thought pump was probably a good bet going into that, but it's just not the type of trade that I wanted to make, like size into a big market. That's the type of like good perp trade I feel like you can make. But like I said, I'm not a perp trader, so. But I don't know. It could look really like attractive and like maybe not necessarily bombed out, but if this thing really just goes sideways or people totally like, maybe we have another month or two of stable coins and perps and people think meme coins are dead forever. That's probably when it's like a very clear, like slam the green button type of opportunity. But who knows? Maybe I'll dabble. Right now, I don't know. I think I would have happily loved to buy pump anytime prior to 2025. But they didn't give me that token opportunity until this year. So sometimes it goes like that.
Sometimes it does go like that.
Well, sir, I don't have anything else. You have anything else? You want to show the newsletter? I'm going to talk about the newsletter before we roll out of here.
Yeah, I'll show it one last time. We, guys, make sure to check out the newsletter. We write it every day. It's the analysts. You can find it by searching 0x Research Blockworks, or you can just find it in the show notes below, or you can
hit the QR code
right here. Very good. But yeah, we do it every day. It's pretty good. I think you'll like it. Very good.
Good. Love it. Otherwise, Bach, we'll see you at DAS London in 2 weeks.
Or
and
on the live stream again.
What's that? Or on the live stream again. I guess that's true. You'll see him on the live stream again, and then you'll see him at DAS. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in. We will see you all next time. Peace.